pulling it up.
I appreciate the help.
We're so eager.
It's good vibration in here. And of course, this is a different person you saw a while ago. Some of you weren't here. Let's have a quiet time before we start. Let us relax our bodies and our minds, clear our thoughts, bring our attention to this moment, and lift our thoughts to the higher realms of divine love and light, and see this circle as a circle of light that is getting brighter with each moment and is becoming a channel, like a huge pipeline that reaches up to the realms of divine love and light. And the teachers from those realms are reaching down to us. And each one in the circle is part of the contact, as much as the one who speaks, because we are lending our life force to this circle. Let us think of divine love and feel the presence of a very large, huge entity of light standing in the middle of our circle, with a spoke of light going out to each one. And this entity is so large that he is reaching all the way up to the higher realms of divine love and light, and is bringing the feeling, the understanding, and the knowing of oneness in this circle. We are as one. Has some writing tonight. The class goes along the lines of how do you experience life? My beloved ones, how do you experience life? Excuse me. How you experience life is how life experiences you. Maybe I should start all over again. My beloved ones, how you experience life is how life experiences you. For you and life are one. When you look into a mirror, you receive the reflection that you are giving the mirror. It is the same with life. What you give to it is what you receive from it. How do you experience life? With sadness, joy, depression, elation? The law of life and the law of abundance is life automatically reflects back to you what you experience or what you are putting out with your vibrations or the creative force. All these are closely related. When we try to bring down the truths of eternal life through your language, we sometimes give you more than one example to make the communication more complete. When you realize that your divinity, you can see that you are an eternal being, an eternal living being that is continually vibrating or giving forth life force. This life force is not neutral. It is molded and shaped according to your type or level of consciousness, for it comes through your consciousness on many different levels. As it is projected into the ethers around you, It is the reflection of your consciousness at that moment and reflected back to you. These vibrations make an imprint on the ethers and affect the whole of life to a degree. They affect the ones around you to a larger degree. When you are happy or joyful and express it, it can bring the same to those who witness it, if they are open to it. As you look at the larger picture of each one of you on your plane, projecting their vibrations and receiving them back, intermingling with all others, it may give you a glimpse of what we see from this level. Never doubt the power of a small group such as yours on the whole of the planet and the universe. If you can see the word picture that we have been painting in the ethers of your mind, you can see how important it is to often send God's love to the planet, all others like it, and to the whole universe. Remember, what you give is reflected back to you. So when you send God's love to the universe, you receive a great measure back to have more to give. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don, your doorkeeper from this side of the veil. It is with great pleasure and great love and joy that we join your circle this evening. It is with great pleasure that we see that you have a full circle of light, and we welcome you with open arms and open heart and a love that extends out and out, much, much farther than you can know. In our talk tonight, we wish to paint you a word picture, as Eloah has often said, and remember that Eloah and the Masters and several others are projecting and putting their input into these messages as they give me the channel that works through your physical channel. When you think of your continuous vibrations, your continuous life force flowing through you, and of your influence upon it, and think of the whole planet and everyone's influence, thoughts intermingling in the ethers around this planet, then you can take a larger picture and look at your system, your sun and its 12 planets, and then your galaxy, and then your universe, and on out, to see and understand the ebb and flow of life and the impressions that you as an individual and as a group have upon it. And I tell you, you do, each one, have a large impression upon the whole of life. And as a group, you are very, very powerful, much more than you imagine. When you come together in one accord in this way, eager to receive and joyful and eager to give, as I have heard tonight, it puts out a beautiful, beautiful vibration. And I would not try to project to you the beauty of this vibration, but it does have a glow over this center and over this city and extends on out to cover your whole planet. As you think of this, think about your days and what you do through the days, how you feel, your moods and your attitudes. Think about the impression and the influence that you have upon life as a whole. Think about your responsibility to life. It is when you awaken and become aware of your ability to respond to the vibrations of divine love and light that healing comes to your planet. Healing comes to the individuals of your planet and all others like it. There are many, many planets comparable to yours, and when you have another planet that is closely equal to yours or compared to a certain extent to yours, you are connected with that planet in a certain way. And each of you influence each other. But it is true also for every planet in the whole universe and every dimension, for there is no separation in any way. But it is very important that we consider how we individually influence and affect life as a whole. You see, my dear ones, in your physical body are many atoms, trillions of atoms, and in your universe, the number of entities could not be counted with your measure of counting. But each one of you are just as important as any other, and each one of you have a definite influence and effect upon the whole of life. You are very precious in the sight of God. His love for you extends out so far that the universe has to continually expand to receive and to hold this love. Whenever you think of your Heavenly Father and those who work closely with Him, think of the love that is projected through them and the channel that they make for the life force to flow to the whole of life. But then reverse this and think of yourself and realize that you are just as close to the Heavenly Father as the highest being of light that you may think is near the Father, because the Father dwells within you. The Creator of all life is the life force that you are, and He loves you equally, no matter what you have done in the past, no matter what level you think that you're on. He loves you unconditionally. He does not see the errors that you see. He does not think of mistakes as you think of them. He sees you as whole, complete, and perfect as He created you. And this great sustaining love is what holds the whole universe, the whole of life together. It's a cohesive force that keeps everything in balance. And when you that are made in the image and likeness of your Creator take the time to send love, to have a quiet time, to go within and talk to your Father, to talk to your teachers and your guides, and to communicate to each other in love? Can you see the influence that you have upon life? Can you see the vibrations that you are projecting out, and how it is a healing vibration? There are many, many on your plane who do not know about this and have not awakened as yet to the understanding that you have. And you can counterbalance. I may have used this word wrong. You can counteract their negative influence with God's love, because love is so much more powerful than any negative influence, because the negative influence is not really real. It is an illusion, and it has no power of its own except as the co-creators of God has given it power. But when you send God's love, and when you are loving to yourself and to each other and to the universe, and when you send love to the planet to help to heal it, you are having a great influence upon life. I know that you have not given this much thought, and this is the reason for this lesson tonight. I know that you do not realize the largeness of the influence that you do have, and how great a power that you are. Use it, my dear ones. Use it lavishly. Use it upon yourself first. And talk to your body. Talk to your mind, and tell them that you love them. This is not silly. It is of great importance that you learn to love every part of yourself. Your little toe, your thumb, every part of your being, and all the other dimensions that you do not see with your physical eyes. And as you love yourself, then love exudes from you, and those who come into your presence feel this vibration of love, and they are fed and may not even know it. And it may have a turning point in their life without your having said a word to them, without your ever having known them before, or may never know them again. You see how important it is to love yourself and to love life, to love each other. When you begin your day with loving thoughts, and remember to love your body and your mind, and to send God's love ahead of you into your day, you are influencing much, much more than you know, because you are starting your day with the right frame of mind, with the right vibrations, with the vibrations that are healing and that light up the place where you are in. My dear ones, each one of you can be a savior to this world and to many other worlds. This is a word that the churches use, and I do not mean it in the context that they do, but take it and think about it. You can save many others lost time, as you think of it, in darkness, just by projecting love to them unlabeled, by smiling at them, by letting love exude from you as you go through your day by filling your place where you are with love and sending love to the planet and the universe often through the day. It is a beautiful life when you allow it to be. And remember that you are the creator of your life. You are the creator of how your life will be. And this influences many, many others and the whole of life itself. Let us stop at this time and ask if you have questions. This is a nice size group, and feel free to ask questions, not personal questions, but questions that concern the class tonight or some other thing that you may be wondering about.
I know words have power to kill and to heal. I have an illustration to give you. I'm a retired registered nurse, and I was off duty in the days that a patient got an immunization to protect her from a certain disease. The next day I came on duty, and a little manic patient ran up to me and told me to come into the ward. The patient was having a convulsion. I went in, took a hold of her wrist and felt the pulse beat, and realized that it was ready. And I said to her, "Stop that foolishness and use your energy to get well." And immediately the pulse came up with a thud. The little manic had a hold of her pulse on the other wrist and said, "Trust in God, trust in God, trust in God." The only other patient in the room said, "There isn't any God, there isn't any God, there isn't any God." And then the fourth time she says, "There is a God." She was real excited. "There is a God, there is a God." And about that time the doctor stepped to the door and looked the situation over and said, "I'll leave her alone. She's as good as dead." And on his last word dead, her last pulse beat came. He turned on his heel and walked down the hall, little realizing he's killed a person. And I often wondered how many people I might have killed by my indifference, by my hurrying when I was busy, and just disappointing someone. I remember one woman, after I'd said, "You give me more trouble than all the other patients on the ward," because she would never take her medicines. On time I'd have to wait for 10 minutes or so. And 2 weeks later she went to the hospital and died, and I wondered if I might have killed her with my stupidity.
My dear one, I would console you in this to realize that each one of you have a time to come and be born and a time to leave this plane. And this is all decided before you come. Now, you have the free will to take someone else's life, and you also have the free will to take your own life and end the contract before it is over. But be not concerned about your having killed someone. And if this doctor was responsible for this, it was allowed, and it was the time for this individual to leave. Now there are certain fractions that are flexible in this, but for the most part, we make a contract before we are born, and we are helped by the lords of karma and many other higher beings, and come into the physical. But as I painted you the word picture of how much you influence life, the vibrations of life are constantly changing and moving about. The ebb and flow is there. And with each one of individual that is on the planet and others on the dimension above you, and some of them are dark rounds, are influencing the whole of the life on this planet. Now, before you wander off into some negative thought, let me say to you that you have the control of your life, and you make your own reality, as you have said many times. So remember that you are responsible for you, but you are also your brother's keeper. You are also responsible to life because you are life. You're responsible to yourself. And when you come to the spiritual realization of the one life and not separate individuals, you will realize your responsibility to the whole of life, because it is just one life. But there is no death, and when you think in the terms of death or lack, you think amiss, for there is no death. Life is eternal. It always will continue. Now, what you do with your individual expression of life is up to you, is between you and God and no one else. And no one else can affect you unless you open the door to allow it. You have the freedom to do this. You have the free will. And they have the free will to affect you, but you still have the free will to not allow them to affect you. When you are in a room and there is an argument and negative vibrations going on, you have the freedom to let these vibrations affect you, or to surround yourself with light and think something loving, or to leave. And so you do have the control over your life. Always remember this.
Thank you.
Yes, God bless you. Are there other questions tonight or comments that you would make?
I have a question, a comment. This concept of having so much, you use the word power, I don't know if I hear
Speak louder, please.
like the concept of one person being able to influence a whole world just by sending out loving thoughts seems to be a relatively new one. Most of the topic that you talk about, I can relate to a lot of books being written about and sending love, all of that, but the topic of actually being able to influence the whole planet just by sending love to it, is that relatively new to the New Age, or has it always been?
It has always been, my dear. It has always been. If you will take the history of your Atlantis as you know it, there were 10 or 12 individuals who were primarily responsible for sinking the continent, for destroying the continent. Now, the other several million allowed it to happen. And when in that time, most of you were in Atlantis, not especially at the time of its destruction, but you had a sojourn there. In that time, we channeled, as we are channeling tonight, but we made ourselves visible and stood on a high pedestal and projected thoughts to the minds, because you were able to receive the impressions and tried to help you to change your thinking and to turn around this destruction. But it did not get done, and so the continent was destroyed and the landmass changed, and this was all of your doing. The 12 men, and there was some women in this, who had the what you now call psychic power, were in disagreement with each other. And this power that they projected against each other affected the whole continent and was the cause of the continent breaking up and the landmass changing. But everyone else on that continent, several million, were as responsible as the 12 who were in disagreement with each other. Now, this may not sound correct to you, but you see, you are made in the image and likeness of the Creator, and you do have the power of the Creator within you, whether you understand it or not, and it is there. And it is similar to your recent history of millions of people allowing one man called Hitler to control them and cause millions to be killed. Do you now understand? Yes. Yes, it is a profound thing, and I do not want you to take this in a negative way or a fearful way. I want to inform you and to help you to use your life force and your vibrations with wisdom, and to bring you to a better understanding of how much you can do for yourself and for life as a whole. This is a time of giving and receiving. The holidays that you celebrate does change the thought in certain areas on your planet, and people are more open to receive than any other time of the year. And I would remind you of this, to send extra love to those who are more open, and give them the opportunity to be happy, to be joyful, to raise their consciousness, to be free of the enslavement of their own negative thoughts. Because, my dear ones, there are many who are enslaved by their own negative thoughts. Are there other questions this evening?
Yes, did you speak more on Atlantis? Did you tell us this was going to have the crystal power and the pyramid powers that they used there in our lifetime?
There will be many similar things that come about on your continent that happened in Atlantis, because most of you were there at the time, and you had the opportunity to graduate from this dimension. Great masses of you had the opportunity to do this, but did not allow this opportunity to take place. And it will come again. It is now coming about. The time is coming about. And whether you use crystals or whether you use divine love does not matter. What matters is what you give to life, how you experience life, how you think, how you feel. And you see, that is what determines what kind of vibrations that you are projecting into the ethers. That determines your level of consciousness and your ability to raise your consciousness. And as you understand this, then you realize that crystals can be very powerful, but your mind, my dear one, is so much more powerful. And when I say mind, I mean the channel that the spirit of you works through. It is the entity that works through the mind. The mind is just a channel, and you work through your mind to bring about the manifestations on the physical plane. Great things are ahead for this era of time, and we have talked about this before, but it all depends on each one who is on the planet, each one who are working with the planet, and 2 dimensions above the planet. For each dimension above affects the dimension below.
I want to express something else. I had a pan of wheatgrass in my arms, and it was luxurious wheatgrass. And I looked down at it and I said, if you love me like I love you, turn in my direction. And a couple blades unwrapped themselves from each other, and one of them came down so it was parallel to the ground, and turned a 45-degree angle and pointed right at me.
Yes.
I was tremendously surprised. That one I wanted to ask you about, and one other experience. I was on tiptoe and held my arms way up to the sky, and I felt a tug on my hands as if a strong man was trying to pull me up. Was these experiences just imagination?
Yes, but they were real. Imagination is real.
Somebody was doing that then. And that wheatgrass listened to me and responded, did it not?
Yes, it did. You see, everything responds to what you're putting out. The whole of life is influenced by your every thought. And I could follow it up by saying word or deed, but you see, you have to think before you speak a word. You have to think before you do something. So it comes back to the thoughts. And your thoughts influence everything around you and the whole of life. Now, to you, this seems outlandish, some of you, but it is not. You are made in the image and likeness of God, and I will continue to impress this upon you until you start thinking more about it and giving it more credit and allowing it to manifest through you. When you can have the faith enough and when you can believe enough to take the action and to put into motion the vibrations that comes from the God within you, you can literally do anything, my dear ones. But you have to believe it, and you have to experience it, and then you know it.
Thank you.
Yes?
I speak wisdom.
So would you speak louder,
I
please?
speak wisdom.
I seek to know a way or message for myself and for others to raise their vibration high enough so that duality between good and bad no longer exists. What would you suggest?
My dear one, divine love is the key to all things. And love, on your dimension, divine love, is very rarely known as it truly is. Divine love is unconditional love. And as I spoke before, you need to learn to love your body, love your mind, love your soul. And when you do this, then you are able to love life so much more. And if you are in a program that helps you to clean out your subconscious mind and all other areas that need cleansing, this is good. And it will give you a foundation. It will give you something to stand upon. And the understanding that you receive then can be multiplied many times in your consciousness. And you can be a light unto the world. Now these are just words until you decide to take the action to put into action these things that I have just said. It is simple, but it is not always easy, because you have been programmed for a long time to think in terms of lack, to think negative, destructive thoughts, and to work against yourself. But you can turn this around if you give up trying to do it with your physical conscious self and go within and let the God being that dwells within you give you the power to accomplish whatever you choose. Does this help your understanding? Yes. Think of how you would like to begin. Find something that a program or some people that you can relate to that will build the foundation that you need. This is the beginning place. And so many want to skip this part of it. But you see, my dear one, if you do not build that foundation strong and solid, it will not hold up your house of spiritual understanding, and you will fail until you start at the beginning and make your foundation of understanding strong and solid. The ingredients of your inner foundation is understanding. Understanding the laws of life eternal. Understanding who you truly are and the power that you hold within your being. When you have this realization of understanding, then you can build your spiritual walls and roofs in your house that is another word for consciousness, and you have a structure that will stand against any storm that comes up against it. And in this world, there can be many storms in many different ways. And as the changes continue to change, there may be a few hard storms in different ways that can shake your house. But if your foundation is strong, if your belief in yourself and your understanding of your divinity, then your house will stand. God bless you. Are there other questions? Speak loud, please.
Yeah. I'm aware that there are like hundreds and hundreds. I'm not exactly sure.
I would like to get it on the tape, so you have to speak loudly to get it on the tape.
Of us relating it. There are lots and lots of beings that are being drawn to specifically Phoenix at this particular time.
Yes, there are different places on the planet that beings are being drawn to for their particular needs. Each individual expression of life is a little different than any other. And this is a place that some people can relate to and can grow a little bit faster because of their past and their understanding that they have. But there are many other places on your planet that are like unto this area and have different vibrations for the different understandings that the individuals can relate to in a different way.
Isn't this the best one for these people in this circle?
Always you are in your right place, and it is the best for you at this moment. The next moment and what you call tomorrow or next month may change, but for this moment you are in your right place. Your inner self, the God within you, will guide you to where you belong. Many have been drawn here to this area from all over your country and even all over the planet, and they will receive the benefits if they do the work with themselves and build their foundation strong and solid. Does this help your understanding?
Yeah, but I was looking for more particular detail, like how, like, okay, go nice to, like, coming here to this being the valley and the sun, when they're, like, old agreements that people made, and then if I at this particular time, just coming, yeah.
Yes, that is, those agreements and desires are within each individual, and I suspect you may be thinking of yourself or someone close to you, but whoever you are talking about, and there are many, you see, they know within themselves, follow your inner guidance. Listen to what you hear from without, but always check it with your inner barometer, as you might call it, to see if it is right for you. It may be correct for the one sitting next to you or the one across from you, but it may not be correct for you. And I'm not saying either way for you now, but I am just making a statement so that everyone in this room and everyone who listens to this tape will understand. Like attracts like. And so when you come to a place where you feel comfortable, then you know that there are others similar to you, not exactly like you, but have close thought patterns, desires, and a particular way to grow spiritually. Are there other questions this evening?
What is the main reason many of us are drawn to paintings?
The same reason that anyone is drawn to anywhere. And this is a particular place for spiritual growth and has been chosen down through the centuries as a place to come for healing and for many different things similar. But it all comes back to your growth, your spiritual growth. This is what you're on this plane for, is to gain understanding, to raise your consciousness closer to the time when you will become gods. When many people come together and they create a great power, just as your group here this evening is as powerful as there are people in the group. Now, it is not multiplied by how many people are in the group, but it is multiplied, and I don't know how to say this in your language, but it is multiplied by each individual and then multiplied again by the next individual. And so it is much more than you would ordinarily think. And those who are drawn to Phoenix and they do not know why, or they have some other reason that they think they have come for, many of them will awaken because of the power of those who already know, the power of you who send love and who keep the vibrations high in this area will help to awaken many who have come, you might say, on false pretenses, or not false, but false to their thinking of why they thought they came. This is very interesting to you, I know. And when the group that Donald came from Oklahoma to Arizona, it was the group of pioneers, and each one in this circle, and each one who decides to work in the Father's vineyard by sending God's love and using their God-given ability to help others and themselves. Each knows within their inner self that they belong. And those who do not belong here will leave. Are there other questions this evening? I would like to remind you of the great throngs of those who are here tonight, a much larger crowd on this side of the veil than you realize, and the light that they project is adding to your light and is projecting very much. As you think of divine love and light and healing power, remember that all on this plane who are not yet masters need love and light and healing. Work first with yourself and then project it out to those around you. And through this season of holiday season that you have, project more than usual. Are there other questions that you would ask this evening? This is a beautiful group this evening, and the vibrations here are very good. Each one of you, maybe one or two, may not feel this, but I feel that you really do inside feel good about being here. And your teachers and your guides are here in great abundance. Many, many friends that you have known through eons of time have come to be with you. They may be in between incarnations, or they may have gotten off of the wheel, but they are your loved ones that you have known, been very close to, had many experiences with. Never doubt this, and always send love out to all of those that you have known down through the ages, and send an extra abundance of God's love to all of those that you have been less than loving to. This will help to lighten your load as you move through this earth experience. It will help those that you have had experiences with. You have gone through many, many experiences, and most who come to this kind of circle, these kinds of classes, are ready to graduate from this plane and not have to come back again if they so choose. And if you desire to put in the time and the work to bring this about, and allow the God within you and us who are here to help you and open up to the light and love that is available to you, there is great, great help that you know not of that can help lift your consciousness and open your inner eye and your inner ear to hear the truth and be free from the vibrations of illusion. This has been a wonderful evening. It has been a joy to be with you, and it is our pleasure to come and sit in this circle with you. God bless you, and good evening.
Well, thank you, Collage.
Shall we hold hands? As we come together by holding hands, let it be symbolic to bringing the kingdom of heaven on earth, because we have spoken to the very high beings, and we have been open to their vibration. Let this be a night of beginning
new experiences that are higher in vibration, and experiencing life in a much greater way, with much more divine love, peace, and joy, and allow it to spread out to those around. Thank you, Father.
Put it down, receive. Louder. Here.
You Lord food.
Cool. You gotta get up. How on come on, like make me get miles away. It's been like Dad reached down that far and we control.